And make sure to engage in comments and share this video to your friends and story lovers, and click on the subscribe button on the screen to subscribe to Inquisco for more real and true stories like this. It started on a Thursday afternoon, the kind of slow, sleepy day where the air outside felt thick and the hum of the AC in the dog shelter made everything feel a little too still. I was sorting through adoption forms at the front desk when the bell over the door jingled and he walked in. I'd seen him before, twice, maybe 3 times, but I never really noticed him until that moment. He had this calm, steady presence, the kind that made everything else feel a little less hurried. He was tall, with deep brown skin and broad shoulders, dressed in a simple gray t-shirt and jeans that fit just right. I remembered his name from his last visit, Shaquille. His wife had been with him before. She wasn't today. "Back again?" I smiled, setting my pen down. He chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Yeah, I don't know why I keep coming back. My wife thinks I'm stalling." "For which part?" "The commitment, actually bringing a dog home." I nodded, watching him glance toward the kennels. There was something about the way he hesitated, like he wasn't in a rush to move. Like he didn't mind standing there with me a little longer. "You ever had a dog before?" I asked. He shook his head. "Not since I was a kid. My dad had one, a big German shepherd named Duke, smart as hell." "Maybe that's the problem," I teased. "You're waiting for a dog to live up to Duke, and nothing ever will." He grinned, and I swear there was something in the way he looked at me just then, something almost aware, like he had just now noticed me too. We stood there a second too long, not awkward, not uncomfortable, just aware. And then he exhaled and turned toward the kennels. I guess I should take another look. I followed him, the air feeling heavier now, like we had just stepped into something we weren't supposed to, even if we hadn't done a single thing wrong. I kept telling myself it was nothing, just conversation, just a customer. But later, when he left, I caught myself looking out the window, watching him get into his car, waiting until he drove away. And for the first time in a long time, I wondered if someone like him had ever looked at someone like me and felt that same quiet, unspoken pull. Shaquille came back the next day. It wasn't unusual for customers to take their time choosing a dog, but something about him walking through that door again so soon made my pulse pick up. I told myself it was nothing, just business, just another customer. But when his eyes met mine, there was something different in them. A hesitation, a heat, like maybe he had thought about yesterday, too. "Couldn't stay away?" I asked, my voice light, casual. He smiled, but it wasn't the same easy grin from before. It was slower, like he was weighing something. I figured I'd better make a decision before my wife does. "His wife," I nodded like the word didn't sting. "Well, let's find you a dog." We walked past the kennels, and the air between us felt electric, like a wire stretched too tight, waiting for the smallest spark. He moved slower than before, pausing in front of each pen, but I wasn't sure he was really looking at the dogs. And then, just as I was about to say something, his voice cut through the hum of the shelter. "You ever think about things that almost happen?" I turned toward him, my breath catching. His eyes stayed on the German Shepherd mix in front of us, but I could tell he wasn't talking about the dog. I swallowed. "What do you mean?" He exhaled, shaking his head like he hadn't meant to say it out loud. "Nothing. Just life is strange, you know?" Strange, that was one way to put it. We were standing too close now. I could feel the warmth of him, the scent of something clean and steady, soap, maybe, or the faintest trace of cologne. I should have stepped away. I should have said something to break whatever was happening between us. But I didn't. Instead, I stayed, listening to the slow rhythm of his breathing, feeling my own heartbeat thrum against my ribs. And then, just as quickly as it had come, the moment passed. He cleared his throat. This one. I think this is the one. I blinked, taking a second to catch up. He was talking about the dog. Right, the dog. I forced a smile, nodding as I reached for the paperwork. My fingers trembled slightly, and I hated that he might have noticed. By the time he signed the adoption forms, the air between us had shifted again. Softer now, but still charged, like the edge of a storm that hadn't quite broken. He took the leash, giving me one last look before heading for the door. I should have felt relief. I should have been glad that whatever had almost happened between us was over. But as I watched him walk away, I realized something unsettling. I wasn't relieved at all. I was disappointed. I didn't expect to see him again. I told myself I wouldn't. He had his dog now, his excuse for coming back, and yet, when I unlocked the shelter doors on Monday morning, I couldn't stop my eyes from flicking toward the parking lot, searching. It took 4 days. 4 days of pretending I wasn't waiting. 4 days of telling myself that whatever had sparked between us was nothing. A flicker, a trick of the moment. And then, on the 4th day, he walked in, alone. The second I saw him, something inside me pulled tight. I tried to keep my voice steady. "You back for a second, dog?" Shaquille gave a quiet laugh, rubbing the back of his neck like he did when he wasn't sure what to say. Not exactly. I waited, watching him hesitate. Finally, he exhaled. "He's great. The dog. I mean, Rocky. That's what we named him." I nodded. "That's a good name." "Yeah." His eyes held mine, like he wanted me to see something beyond the words. "He's settling in, getting used to everything." Something about the way he said it made my stomach tighten, like he wasn't just talking about the dog. Silence stretched between us, and I felt the weight of it, heavy and thick. I should have said something. I should have ended whatever this was before it got worse. But the truth was I didn't want to. "Can I show you something?" he asked, his voice quiet. I hesitated, glancing toward the office. No one else was here yet. Dangerous. This was dangerous. But I nodded. He pulled out his phone, tapping the screen before turning it toward me. It was a photo. Rocky, curled up on a couch, his ears perked, but his body relaxed. I smiled. "He looks happy." Shaquille didn't respond right away. When I glanced up, his eyes were on me. Not the way a customer looks at an employee, not the way a man looks at a woman he has no business wanting, but like someone standing on the edge of something, waiting for permission to fall. I swallowed hard, my throat dry. "Shaquille, I can't stop thinking about you." The words hit like a spark to dry grass. I took a step back, but it wasn't enough. The space between us was already burning. "You can't say that," I whispered, barely trusting my own voice. "I know," he admitted, but he didn't take it back. He didn't move away. My heart slammed against my ribs. "You love your wife?" "Yes." His answer was firm, no hesitation, but then softer, "and I think about you anyway." The room felt too small, the air too thick. I gripped the edge of the counter, like it could anchor me, like it could stop this from becoming something I wouldn't be able to undo. "This isn't," I started, but I couldn't finish the sentence because I didn't know what this was. He exhaled, dragging a hand over his jaw. I know. He trailed off, shaking his head. I should have stopped him. I should have said something definitive, something sharp that would cut through whatever this was. But I didn't, because part of me, maybe a very small, reckless part, didn't want it to stop, and he knew it. He could see it in the way I wasn't moving, in the way my breath was coming too fast, in the way I was gripping the counter like I was holding myself back. A few more inches. That was all it would take. Just a shift forward, a breath closer, and whatever invisible line we were dancing around would disappear completely. His eyes dropped to my lips, and that was when the door jingled. We jerked apart like teenagers caught sneaking around, hearts pounding, faces flushed. I turned just in time to see my coworker step inside, pausing as she took in the scene. Shaquille cleared his throat. I should go. His voice was different now, tighter, like he was shoving everything back down where it was supposed to be. I nodded, but I couldn't speak. He turned toward the door, but just before stepping out, he hesitated. And then, without looking back, he left. I stood there, staring at the spot where he'd been, my pulse still racing. Nothing had happened, not really, but as I exhaled, unsteady, one thought burned itself into my mind, refusing to leave. Almost. It had almost happened, and somehow that felt more dangerous than if it actually had. Click on the subscribe button on the screen to subscribe to Inquisco for more real and true stories like this.